Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. This is not my usual type of video, but I've decided that I want to do a video on it, so I'm gonna. Now, as many of you guys have, I've played a lot of Blizzard games over the years, not just World of Warcraft. I've really expanded and tried most of them to a certain degree. I know people have sunk hundreds or even thousands of hours into the Diablo titles. I know people are absolutely crazy about Rule 34, Overwatch, and the games involved around there. And I know people are fanatical about Heroes of the oh wait. We'll take that one out in editing. Point is, I've played a lot of Blizzard games. I'm sure many of you guys have as well. And just today, a user on Reddit called Mr. Mike Meekins posted this graph itemizing Blizzard quarterly reports and the monthly active users displayed from Q1 in 2016 to where we are now in Q2 2021. Now, I know what you're thinking. Reddit, my favorite place to go online for well-informed journalism, which doesn't aim to push the viewer in a certain way to get them to upvote the post to get imaginary internet points to feel good about yourself. Which is, yeah, but no, the graph is fine, really, and what it shows. It's very simple. This is publicly available information, which anybody would be able to get. It's available on investor.blizzard.com. I've gone on there to specifically check whether the dates match up just because I'm a bit curious like that and I want to make sure. Since the point in time when the graph starts, Blizzard have been advertising how many monthly users they have had. And I think there's quite a lot to be gleaned from this because on quarterly reports, Blizzard show things such as their costs, how much they're making, the monthly active users, and they split them up across their various subsidiaries, I guess. You have Activision, which is Call of Duty stuff. You have Blizzard, which is stuff on your Battle.net launcher, and you have King, which is mobile stuff like Candy Crush and so on. So again, this is for monthly active users across Blizzard IPs, not the other stuff. Now, initially, it's real easy to look at this graph and say, oh yeah, Legion sure was a great game, man. You know it was. I thought Legion was pretty damn good by today's standards. However, fun fact, at Legion launch, it sold 3.3 million copies in 24 hours. Pretty good. Battle for Azeroth, more than 3.4 million copies in a one-day sales record for World of Warcraft. Surely we can do no better than this. Shadowlands was the fastest PC selling game of all time with a record launch of 3.7 million units sold in a single day. It was rather quickly surpassed by Cyberpunk, and both games have had about equal amounts of success, I would say. However, neither of these launches appear to have made a particular mark on the monthly active users, which have shown on this graph at least. If anything, I'd say the markup around the 2017 period of time was largely due to Overwatch. On its launch, Overwatch was unlike anything I've seen in such a long time for a new title, or specifically a Blizzard IP, to take off in this way. Pretty much everyone I knew, whether they're given an FPS or an FPS-esque game a go before, had a look at the game, myself included on this. Looking at the Q1 2017 report, we can see much of the same, where we can see reach 30 million registered players faster than any franchise in Blizzard history. It does feel as though Overwatch to a certain degree has taken a back seat in regards to the development of Overwatch 2. That, combined with Blizzard trying to force an esport out of quite literally every single game they ever do ever. Moreover, the attitude they had towards the esport in Overwatch was just strange and very different from what other people were doing on the market at the point in time, which can be a good thing, but instead of doing things, you know, online, they had some kind of homestead stadium-based idea where they expected people who are local to the team that they were playing to go there and support their team rather than watching online, to actually go inside some kind of stadium, buy merch and food and drinks and all that other kind of thing when they were there. And then the Rona came around and their idea fell flat instantaneously, and they had no form of resilience to back that up, and it took them a long time to get back on their feet after that. That's on top of the rights to actually broadcast Overwatch being dropped from Twitch to YouTube, which, well, I would say is a drop in terms of platform. And they're not just hemorrhaging viewers anymore, but a lot of the sponsors that the game has and the league has are also now in question, with Kellogg disappearing. The likes of Coca-Cola, State Farm and T-Mobile are also in question now. It seems like a rather easy way out of a sinking ship. Were I in a position where I was in any way dependent on Overwatch, I wouldn't be sitting on my hands waiting and saying Overwatch 2 is going to save the day. So whether the Widowmaker and Mercy feet picks have enough gravitational pull to keep people hooked long enough for Overwatch 2 to finally release, that remains to be seen, but there isn't all that much faith for Blizzard to put out quality products these days. This is hardly the only large lawsuit or scandal Blizzard's had placed against them either in recent history. You can see the day when the actual lawsuit broke here. However, if we look back a little bit to November 2018, we can see a much bigger drop off during this period of time. This was following a quarterly report where Blizzard just didn't hit their targets for what they had set themselves. The actual just not making enough money is what can cause this kind of thing to happen. If we compare one of the latest big upsets Blizzard had around the whole Blitzchung drama, which took place on October 2019, you can see following day here on October 7th, Blizzard announced they've been banned from the tournament and so on and so forth. And if we go to October 2019, we can see, yeah, not much, basically. The only thing that appears to have a meaningful drop is when Blizzard just don't make as much money, unfortunately. Also around this time was BlizzCon 2018, which had such gems as this.
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones.
And as a follow-up to this in 2018, and speaking of games on their way out, where they mentioned they're going to discontinue a large amount of work on the game and discontinue the competitive scene, which, to paraphrase the post they put together here, essentially says H Omega lol TS. If you're working at Blizzard and have not been reallocated to another team that works on this, you probably don't have a job. And if you're in any capacity in the competitive scene of this game that was bankrolled by Blizzard, not anymore. A similar thing happened to StarCraft 2 about 1 year later, where again it was much of the same thing, where they mentioned is they're going to pull back a lot of the development time from the game and have it in more of a maintenance kind of arrangement. StarCraft 2 though, despite being put on the shelf, has really continued along to just maintain its competitive edge and still have a dedicated viewer base which watch all of the tournaments, which are still being put on by some of the longest standing esport commentators that are going at the moment. I guess partially its existence has continued because of the ability to pull prize money for the actual competitions, which is something I've never really overly been a fan of. Of course, we have Dota 2, which Steam really set the benchmark for doing this, but that game's free to play though, so I can understand that to a certain degree. But with things like Blizzard games, especially World of Warcraft, where players are already paying a box fee on top of a sub fee, it's wild to me that given those circumstances that prize pooling is still in any way afforded some kind of mention. And looking online regarding top awarded prize money, it's no surprise which games are at the top really here, but StarCraft is still going along here at 5th, which is really impressive to me when we have to go all the way down to 26 to find World of Warcraft. Valorant is above World of Warcraft already. That is correct. Warcraft 3 is above WoW. I guess it's not always the fairest comparison to make, but how Blizzard's crowdfunded money in the past and the precedents that they've set really doesn't put a lot of faith in the actual intention behind it. Above all, when a billion-dollar company struggles to put together a 5-digit prize pool for something like this. What other Blizzard games can we talk about? Warcraft Reforged? That wasn't even brought up in any way following the quarter when it was released. It was as if it had never even existed in the first place. Not brought up at all under any of the Blizzard games. It just was an absolute disaster and just completely ignored, frankly. Last we've heard about Diablo was at BlizzCon for Diablo 2 Remastered, which is coming out just a few days before New World, actually, which worked out kind of oddly. I don't really think they have too much overlap. We'll see how that one goes. I'd be pretty cautious about pre-ordering, though. Actually see how the game looks before you get the wallet out, I think. Out of everything, I think Hearthstone's the game I follow the least from the Blizzard IPs, though. I understand the packs have been made cheaper and it's been made a bit more beginner-friendly to be able to get hold of competitive decks, and they seem to put out content fairly regularly as well. So despite this, despite everything I've gone over, despite the graph showing monthly active users are down year upon year, well, put it like this, shall we? Let's go to Q1 2017. Here are our results. Now, looking at Blizzard here, we have our net, we have our operating income, which is profit, as well as the margin. So this is for a user base of 41 million monthly active users for Blizzard, okay? And these are the numbers they are showing. Now, if we go forwards to today, where we have 26 million monthly active users across Blizzard games, we're looking at these kind of numbers. I'll put these side by side, but yeah, you can clearly see that despite an absolutely colossal drop off in the amount of people actively engaging with the games month on month, they've retained a pretty like amount of profits and overall income. So yeah, less people playing, but similar amounts of cash coming in. Where could that extra money possibly be coming from? It's no wonder that value added has replaced actually good games over the years when you see things like this. It only takes a couple of whales to fill up the space of a small few fish. And that's where Blizzard are casting their nets. I guess for World of Warcraft, you could say for the mounts, for the pets, the toys, the tokens, the ability to boost through raids, to boost through arena, to buy Mythic Plus carries. And I imagine it's a similar story across other Blizzard IPs. There's so much added value and stuff that you can pay for in addition to the base game and the subs. And all of this, imagine, has taken place at a time when people are working from home. People have been forced to work from home. During this time, people have been looking towards other games and exploring what other developers can offer. That's why it's not looking good. Not necessarily for them as a company, but for us as a player, because what they've been doing has been turning very similar profits to what they're able to achieve with considerably higher amount of players. From their point of view, I can only assume this looks great, especially when you take into consideration what Activision and King have been able to do alongside Blizzard. I'll keep a look at in the future. Some of the recent appointments are interesting, particularly Mike here, or Quick, who the day after he was appointed, people were already posting on Reddit and tweeting about his mythic Castle Nathria passes, or him having completed all 15s. If anything, and this is shown to be true across different games, it's good to have a figurehead who is relatable to the, well, just average player. You look across to old school RuneScape, where they have Mod Ash, though that should go for every member of the old school team who puts themselves in front of a camera at the spare time to inform or interact with the community. Or Yoshi P over on Final Fantasy XIV, the revered saint of the household, if you will. That's about it though. Usually I'd end these videos with I hope to see this, I'd like to see that kind of thing, but at this point in time, show me why I should care, and maybe I just will again. If you guys like this kind of video, let me know. It is a bit something different. I didn't really plan to do it, but I just felt like I had a bunch of things to say, so I thought, why not put it into a video? So let me know your thoughts about all this. I can only assume it's going to be an interesting one down in the comments. If you made it to the end, good job. You can support me on Patreon if you do enjoy this kind of thing, as well as find me on Twitter. I'll put the links below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening in. I will see you all in the next one very soon.